Have you ever wondered why America is always at war? Now, war has always been a serious and devastating event that affects millions of people around the world. But here's something you may not know. While wars cause destruction and suffering, they also make certain groups rich, very rich, particularly those on Wall Street. Yes, the same Wall Street that's famous for big banks, stock markets, and billion-dollar companies. But how does this happen? How do wars make Wall Street money? And what role does something called as military-industrial complex play in this? So in this video, let's discuss the financial aspect of wars, particularly from the view of Wall Street, and how you too can leverage this knowledge to become rich while following their footsteps. Hi, I'm Amber. I'm an accountant and a Wall Street banker based in New York City. I make content about finance and money, so if you like the content, please consider subscribing. At the first glance, it might seem strange to think that war can benefit Wall Street. After all, wars involve soldiers, governments, and battlefields, while Wall Street is all about stock, bonds, and money. But when you look a little deeper, it becomes clear that wars are often big businesses for companies that produce weapons, guns, military equipment, and supplies. When wars break out, governments like the US government spend massive amounts of money on their military. They buy weapons, vehicles, ammunition, and all kinds of other equipment to fight their battles. This is where Wall Street comes in. Many of the companies that produce these weapons and military equipment are publicly traded on stock exchanges, which means regular people, investors, and big Wall Street firms can buy and sell shares of these companies. As wars create demand for more weapons, the stock prices of these companies go up, making investors richer. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's break down even more by looking at something called as military-industrial complex and how it ties into Wall Street's wealth. Well, in order to understand how Wall Street benefits from war, we need to understand the military-industrial complex. Now, this is a term that was made famous in 1961 by President Eisenhower. He warned that a powerful system was brewing between the government, the military, and the defense companies, all that could lead to dangerous consequences. And unfortunately, Eisenhower was right. So here's his farewell speech, warning of the potential consequences of the creation of the military-industrial complex. It's 2.5 minutes long, and it's definitely worth watching.
A vital element in keeping the peace is our military establishment. Our arms must be mighty, ready for instant action, so that no potential aggressor may be tempted to risk his own destruction. Our military organization today bears little relation to that known of any of my predecessors in peacetime, or indeed by the fighting men of World War II or Korea. Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
The military-industrial complex is essentially a cycle of mutual benefit between three main players. The first is the government. Congress and other parts of the government decide how much money to spend on the military and where that money goes. Second is the military itself. The military receives the money to buy weapons and equipment, pay soldiers, and maintain bases around the world. And third is defense contractors, Companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon are hired by military to produce everything from fighter jets to missiles to tanks. Now, all three parts of the system benefit from each other. Congress allocates more money to the military spends that money on defense contractors, and the defense contractors profit from the contracts they win. Meanwhile, Congress members receive campaign donations from these defense companies, keeping the cycle going. So, how Wall Street ties into all of this? Many of the biggest defense contractors are publicly traded companies. This means that you can buy shares of these companies on the stock market. So, when the government spends more on military, these companies make more money and their stock prices often rise. For example, during wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, companies like Lockheed Martin and Boeing saw their profits soar. The more weapons they sold to the US government, the more their stock prices increased. Investors on Wall Street noticed this and started to buy even more shares of these companies, driving their prices even higher. In fact, defense stocks are often seen as a safe bet during times of war. When there's conflict, government spends more money on military equipment, which boosts the revenues of defense companies. For investors, it's a win-win situation, and the more wars that happen, the more of these companies and by extension Wall Street profit. Another very important concept to understand is the revolving door between the government and Wall Street. One of the reasons why Wall Street benefits so much from war is because of something known as the revolving door. This refers to the way in which people move back and forth between the government, the military, and defense companies. For example, a high-ranking military official might retire from the military and then take a job as a lobbyist or as a senior executive at a defense company. Or a government official might leave their job in Congress and go to work for a Wall Street firm that invests heavily in defense stocks. This revolving door allows the individuals to use their connections and knowledge to benefit both the defense companies and Wall Street. As a result, Wall Street firms have a direct line on what's going on inside the White House. They know when the military is going to spend more money, what companies are going to win big contracts, and how these developments will affect stock prices. This insider knowledge allows Wall Street firms to make smart investments that pay off when wars happen. There are a few reasons why war is of such great opportunity for Wall Street. First is guaranteed government spending. During wartime, governments are almost guaranteed to spend huge sums of money on defense weapons and military technology. This means defense companies have a steady stream of income and their investors can count on profits. Second, their stock prices surge. When government increases the defense budgets, companies that provide military supplies see their stock prices rise. For example, like I mentioned before, when wars in Iraq and Afghanistan happened, companies like Lockheed Martin and Boeing saw a significant surge in their stock price. This created wealth for shareholders, including Wall Street firms and savvy investors. The defense contracts are often long-term. Defense companies often win long-term contracts that ensure they will keep making money even after the war is over. This gives investors a peace of mind knowing that their investments in defense stocks are stable and will continue to grow over time. Fourth is increased demand. War increases the demand for weapons and supplies and military technology. As defense contractors ramp up production to meet this demand, their profits rise, and so do their stock prices. And the last one is political support. Military spending in the US is one of the few things that both Republicans and Democrats agree on. Congress consistently approves massive defense budgets, ensuring that defense companies and their investors will keep getting paid. Now, this was all on the bright side of the Wall Street and the war connection. Now, looking at the dark side, the impact on the rest of us. While Wall Street and defense contractors get rich from war, the rest of us often end up paying a price. Wars cost a lot of money, and that money has to come from somewhere. In many cases, it comes from taxpayer dollars, so instead of spending that money on things like schools and healthcare and infrastructure, the government pours it into military operations and defense contracts. Additionally, the more money that goes into the military-industrial complex, the more likely it is that wars will continue. When war becomes profitable, there's less incentive to seek peace. After all, why would defense companies or Wall Street want wars to stop when they're making billions of dollars from them? This is one of the biggest criticisms of the military-industrial complex. It creates a system where war is incentivized, and as long as people are profiting from the conflict, wars will continue to happen. So now to the main point. How can you leverage wars and get rich like Wall Street investors? Now you may be wondering, how can I profit from the system the way Wall Street does? Well, the truth is, you don't need to be a financial genius or Wall Street insider to benefit from defense stocks. With the right approach and a basic understanding of investing, you could start building your wealth just like big players. Here's how you can follow in Wall Street's footsteps. Start by staying alert on global events. Wars and military conflicts don't happen out of the blue. By paying attention to global events, you can spot opportunities to invest in defense companies before wars break out. For example, rising tensions between countries or major military operations can signal that defense companies are about to see an increase in the demand. Second is to invest in defense stocks. Companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon are some of the biggest defense contractors. These companies have historically performed immensely well during times of war or increased military spending. By purchasing stocks in these companies, you can take advantage of their growth when defense budgets rise. Third is diversify your portfolio. While defense stocks can be profitable during wartime, it's important to diversify your investments. This means spreading your money across different sectors like technology, healthcare, and renewable energy. By diversifying, you reduce the risk of losing money if one of the industry underperforms. Fourth is consider investing in defense ETFs versus individual stocks. If you're not sure which defense stocks to buy, consider investing in a defense-focused ETF. ETFs or exchange-traded funds allow you to invest in a basket of defense stocks, giving you the exposure to the whole industry rather than just one company. This can help you reduce your risk while still giving you the opportunity to profit from the military-industrial complex. At the time of making this video, these are the best defense ETFs to invest in. And lastly, think long-term. Like any investment, it's important to think long-term. While defense stocks may rise during wartime, they can also provide steady growth over time as governments continue to invest in military technology. Now be patient and let your investments grow over years or even decades. Now wrapping up our thoughts. War, as we all know, is a devastating event that causes untold suffering to millions of people. But for those on Wall Street, it's often seen as an opportunity to make money. The military-industrial complex with its close ties to the government, the military, and the defense companies ensures that war remains profitable more so on the Wall Street. If you choose to invest in defense companies, do so with an understanding of how the system works and the impact it has on your financials. By being informed, diversifying your investments, and thinking long term, you can potentially build your wealth while also keeping an eye on the bigger picture. Well, that's it for this video. Please don't forget to like and share and subscribe to the channel if not done already. As usual, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.